Hey, today we're going to talk myth versus reality of outsourcing. Outsourcing myths, they're everywhere. Whether you've heard them in boardroom conversations to virtual meetings, heated debates among employees or leadership, these myths end up shaping the decisions to utilize support agents, which often ends up resulting in a company's detriment. What if I told you that most of what you've heard is really just noise? And from my own experiences with different outsourcing models and third-party options, the onshore folks are the ones who are typically proving the naysayers wrong. Is that right? Isn't that crazy? Today, I want to dive into some myth versus reality to help separate the facts from the fiction that you've heard. Outsourcing isn't new. In fact, for years, companies have turned to external teams to handle tasks they can't manage in-house. Whether this is nearshore or offshore outsourcing, all that mattered was where they could get the work done at a reduced cost to help save on their budgets. So let's talk about the difference between nearshore and offshore outsourcing. It's really simple. Neither are localized in the US, and they both involve using other countries. Offshore outsourcing is using support staff from countries like the Philippines, Europe, China, while nearshore outsourcing is using neighboring countries with similar time zones, such as Latin America. So Bolivia, Argentina, those areas there. My company, K3 Staffing, is a nearshore business process outsourcing company. So that allows me to provide a support agent who is able to assist with schedules that accommodate the needs of US-based businesses. A little bit better than an offshore person would be able to do. Now that we've identified the difference in the two types of outsourcing, let's dive in to the myths around why people feel negatively towards companies who use third-party support agents. Myth 1, language barriers. Yes. There's going to be some language barriers or some language, not necessarily barriers, but some language identifiers when using support agents from other countries. You'll almost always experience something, but that doesn't mean that the support agent is not fully bilingual, doesn't understand, or isn't able to communicate clearly and effectively with other colleagues, clients, or customers. In fact, I have employed several support agents who are private English teachers or who happen to live in Latin America now, but originally lived in the US. A couple actually were from Virginia, and a couple others were from Dallas, Texas, and Missouri, and they moved to South America. Myth 2, outsourcing compromises quality. In my experience, this has taught me that using nearshore versus offshore, it can make a big difference in the quality of outsourced support agent. I've also learned that what makes a quality support agent has nothing to do with the country they are living in, but everything to do with the expectations set forth from the onboarding company and the training that is provided prior to placing with a client account, but also once placed, the training they receive from that client. For instance, anyone that wants to apply or be placed with a client account, like my company K3 has, is required to have a minimum of a bachelor's degree, as well as being fluent in English. Being bilingual is fantastic, but that doesn't always clarify if they are fluent in English. It really only says that the individual can speak 2 or more languages. So I am always specific in the fact that anybody working for me must be bilingual in English and their native language or more languages. Once selected for employment with my company, we begin doing what I call back-end training and ghost supporting. This allows the support agent to become familiar with the company they're going to be placed with, but also my company expectations. They get real-time hands-on learning that prepare them for the placement with a client account. By doing this, the quality of support agent that is placed debunks the myth that there's a lack of quality in the work that they can do. Myth 3 is hidden cost in outsourcing. I'm not sure who you've used before to make you think or believe that there's hidden cost, but in my experience, this is not true. And if you have experienced this or you're currently experiencing this, I would tend to recommend switching to a different staffing company. Most outsourcing companies charge by the hour that the support agent is working. K3 staffing charges a monthly flat rate per support agent. That's it. So now there could be software or other required technology that a client account might ask us or the staffing company to provide or carry a licensing for, such as like a Slack or Teams, emails, things like that. In that case, the client would be billed for that as well. Those terms should be clearly outlined in the signing, in the contract that you are signing. There are no hidden fees or costs associated. Businesses can save on their budgets by utilizing the cost-effective support agents and knowing what's in their contract. Myth 4 is limited tech knowledge. False. Most of the team members or previous team members that I have worked with have more tech knowledge than I do. While sometimes their internet can be a little challenging, overall, the nearshore community that I have met and I contract with, they are very tech savvy and knowledgeable. In fact, they help me a lot of times with the technologies that we have here that I struggle with. Myth 5, outsourcing is just for short-term projects. No way. I've had team members placed with client accounts for several years, growing in their roles and adapting to the needs or expectations of that client account. While you can use virtual assistants or VAs for short-term projects, support agents are meant to act as a full-time, dedicated employee on your team. We strive for longevity and loyalty with the team members that we're placing with clients. And in fact, most support agents do not want short-term projects and prefer to have long-term client placements for their financial benefit. I hope that what I covered today in sharing some of these myth versus realities of using outsourced support agents help to break down some of the barriers or stereotypes that have been formed. Keep watching and make sure you subscribe to hear more myth versus reality debunking based off of my experiences, whether it be with my business that is currently open or prior to my business being opened while working for an organization who utilized 3 or 4 different agencies. So my experience is not just based off me employing or contracting individuals, but also from working side by side and interviewing and hiring as well support agents within the company that I was with prior to my company. Thank you so much.